get into this Urkel story, child. So now, talk about somebody out of damn touch. Oh, damn. Why did it refresh? Hold on. Let me do that one more time. Because it keeps freaking playing, and I wanted to play it from the beginning. Why he look chubby, too, in the cheeks. But anyway, let's get on this whole Jaleel White story, because I'm getting sidetracked. So apparently, he aired his grievances regarding Family Matters not getting the respect as one of the Mount Rushmores of Black sitcoms. So in a recent interview at the Wilmington Library for the launch of his new book, Growing Up Urkel, I want to know what the sale on that is, because I don't know, the way he been coming across, I doubt anybody was out here, besides people who got a little Family Matters nostalgia, has bought that book, because I actually thought about getting it, but the more he does interviews, the more I start to not like him. So the actor, Jaleel White, suggested Family Matters gets left out of the discussion on the best Black TV shows of all time. Now, as I said, I do have the clip, courtesy of the Neighborhood Talk, so shout out to them. And we are going to play this clip, and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
The TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of Blackness. You know, Blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a Black story. And, you know, sometimes I feel left out of that, you know, so it's like, you know, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite Black shows? And, you know, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys, I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting in how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as Black folks. And somehow I became a symbol for Black male nerd culture, to be quite honest. I mean, I know this for a fact. Any brother that grew up in the 80s and 90s, well, 90s and 2000s, wearing glasses, he was told at school he looked like me. He was called Urkel. And he didn't look anything like me, guaranteed. But still, his peers would find a way to call him Urkel, and even girls to that extent. So it's really humbling to see how far nerd culture has come. And really, it's not nerd culture. It's smart culture. It's hobbyist culture. It's skateboarders. And I could never have known in a million years that I would be the face of that. I never could have known that. Being a part of the TGIF brand.
Okay, so you know what? On that part, he is absolutely right. That growing up, he was like the pinnacle of nerd culture. He was the face of nerd culture, especially when you're talking about within the Black community, that he was like one of the most popular names because TGIF was a huge show. When I was growing up as a kid, you know, I watched TGIF religiously. It's like I watched Family Matters, I watched Boy Meets World, I watched Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I watched all those shows. But for him to sit up there and say like, oh, if it's not hood, then it wasn't being validated, I disagree with that, because in the 90s, we had a lot of positive Black shows on television that were successful. One being, we had Living Single. I love that show. There was nothing ratchet about Living Single. First of all, we had characters on there. One was a lawyer. Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. Then we had Queen Latifah, who ran Flavor Unit, or Flavor Magazine. Flavor Unit was actually a play on her own production company and stuff with the music and stuff. But she had Flavor Magazine, so she was a magazine owner, which was like an inspiration for like Ebony and Jet and those sort of things. And then we had people with high profile jobs who were living in Harlem on the show. Then we had The Cosby Show. Bill Cosby stuff withstanding, the show was a positive depiction of Black families. We also had A Different World, which was on HBCUs and Black colleges. We also had, you know, I don't know if I mentioned it, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I love that show. We had Sister Sister. We had Moesha. We had so many great Black shows on in the 90s and the 2000s that what the hell is he talking about in regards of the Family Matters not getting the respect? Because I grew up on Family Matters and I know a lot of people, Black kids, that love that show. And yeah, it was Steve Urkel, like if you was a nerd or whatever, they would clown you and stuff. And yeah, nerd culture now is well respected versus when I was coming up, it wasn't cool to be a nerd. I was a floater when I was in school. So I hung out with the nerds, I hung out with the jocks, I hung out with the rebels. I was a floater. And I think what allowed me to be that way is because I was funny. So when I would be the class clown and I would do all this stuff, it allowed me the ability to float around other groups and I didn't get bullied or picked on. So this mouth pretty much saved my life. It had me have a good years in high school. But according to some of the comments, because I was like, let's go over there and let's see what the people is talking about in regards of this situation of what Jaleel is talking about. Because I know a lot of people feel like he wasn't grateful. He comes across as ungrateful with this whole Family Matters situation. So one person said Martin and Living Single were not hood stories. Martin was the host of Detroit's rap radio station. The cast of Living Single worked and owned Flavor magazine. Max was an attorney. Kyle worked at a marketing advertising firm. Another person said he sounds like the black guys that say black women aren't attracted to them. Another person said neither of these shows are hood stories. Another person said at this point, he's tarnishing the legacy a little bit. We always showed Family Matters love. Absolutely. So I don't know who the hell he was talking about. Now let's get in on Miss Elgin Charles, who used to be married to Jack A. Harry. Said Jaleel is so incredibly pompous. Some of the most celebrated sitcoms with a black titular cast were not deemed hood. The Cosby Show, A Different World, The Jeffersons, Julia, etc. And that's why I was like, as me growing up, there were not many ratchet black shows on television. I don't remember them. Like, what shows would you talk about? Because I've been like, if these shows existed, name them. Even Good Times that took place in the projects wasn't ratchet. I heard somebody said in the comments that they said that if you really think about it, um, Family Matters was more ghetto or more hood than actual hood programs. Maybe if you're looking at now, when you look at a lot of these shows that's on TV now, you might be correct with some of that stuff. We have all the 50 Cent Power stuff and all that stuff that was on. But no, when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of those shows. So another person said, "Man, what?" Martin Living Single, In the House. Oh, I forgot about In the House. That was with LL Cool J. I used to like that show too. I remember that RuPaul tells a story about when he was on an episode of In the House, but I have to say that for another time. So now, unless y'all didn't hear it. So now they said, yeah, In the House, the Wayans brothers, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air are not hood shows. He needs to just accept that he is not on the top of everyone's list and stop shading everything and everybody. And I'm trying to see if I actually said. Oh, so another person said Family Matters was on ABC's TGIF lineup. It was a show that kids could watch with their parents. Martin and Living Single were for adults. Different demo. If you were a kid during that time, Family Matters and Fresh Prince were definitely top shows. Martin and Living Single were not hood stories. They were all working professionals. What is he saying? Exactly. So everybody in here is pretty much going, child, and even got Kempire up in the comments. So he's so cringy in these interviews. That's why I feel like at this point you are really tarnishing not only the legacy of Family Matters, but I feel like you're also ruining your chances of people wanting to buy this damn book. Because every time Jaleel White open his damn mouth, bullshit comes out. So, in the words of even Funky Dineva got up in here, said no, people just don't like an adult Jaleel White. Yeah, that's the gag, yeah. So look, in the words of Whoopi Goldberg to Nutmeg McCain, that time when Nutmeg got on her root canal nerve, girl, please stop talking. Please stop talking right now. So that's what we need at this point with this heifer. Jaleel, stop talking. Stop doing interviews. Stop running over your damn mouth. Because everything that comes out of it is just makes you sound worse and worse. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? First of all, Jaleel don't know what the hell he talking about in regards of like black television and the shows that I grew up on, like all those shows. Even New York Undercover, I used to love that show. Actually, I got the opportunity to go on New York Undercover. I think I told y'all this story back in the day, the episode that Eddie got killed on. And that's when I met Lauren Velez and Jonathan LaPaglia, who kept staring at me. I remember that. I didn't get to meet Malik Yoa, but I got to meet Lauren Velez backstage and all other stuff. And Michael Imperioli, who actually recognized my teacher, Copper Cunningham, because she's an actress at the time. I don't know if she still acts, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I was just saying that I love New York Undercover. We had a lot of great shows on in the 90s and the 2000s. And so, Jaleel, I don't know what the hell you talking about. And in a way, I'm so glad that they're not doing a Family Matters reboot. And if they decide to do a Family Matters reboot, don't include him because you're just annoying. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.